Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. There is a thread going around called Gimme 10 Blues Albums, so I thought I'd jump right on in with that. I've been a blues hound ever since I was a kid. Started off basically because I'm so ancient. It started out in the mid 60s when they had the big folk revival. Around 64, 65, I used to go down to Greenwich Village in New York City with my friends, and we'd hang out with the beatniks, and we'd go to this club called the Gaslight, which was a coffee house, no liquor served, so anybody could get in. And at the Gaslight, besides all the folk acts of Dave Van Ronk and all those people, we also got to see Mississippi John Hurt and John Lee Hooker, two I remember specifically. Back then, it was $2 to get in, $2.50 to get in, and you got to see great acts. Saw a lot of the great bluesmen. Probably the best concert I went to ever was 1970 Ann Arbor Blues Festival. I was 21 years old that summer, and I went with a buddy. We drove his motorcycle there, got there about 2 days before the show started, and helped them build the stage. Ran errands. I climbed up a light tower, I remember one day, with the guy hooking lights up. We spent 2 days working, and at the end of the second day, when they were all set, they gave us all 3-day passes to the festival. So we got it for free for 3 days, camped out. And at the Blues Festival in 1970, I actually have a copy of the original poster. You probably can't see it with the way they're a little bit better there. But just to give you some of the idea of the acts, the first night, Friday night, was Bukka White, Mighty Joe Young, Jimmy Dawkins, John Lee Hooker, Howlin' Wolf, and Roosevelt Sykes. Saturday during the day, they had Hound Dog Taylor, Luther Allison, Albert King, Mississippi Fred McDowell. Saturday night was Robert Pete Williams, Johnny Shines with Sunnyland Slim, Joe Turner with T-Bone Walker, and Bobby Blue Bland. Sunday afternoon was Little Brother Montgomery, Carrie Bell, Buddy Guy, and Otis Rush. And then on Sunday night, the last evening of the festival, was Mance Lipscomb, Little Joe Blue, Big Mama Thornton, Lowell Fulson, Junior Parker, and Son House closed it out. And that was, even though I got it for free, it said here the entire weekend back then was $10. So I'm sort of at that age where I'm lucky enough I got to see a lot of great bluesmen and have been a big blues hound for many, many years. I watched Vinyl Richie's video and Tales from the Crate, Andrews. So I stayed away from the obvious. So you don't see Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf or Robert Johnson. I tried to do something that I haven't seen other people show yet. I'm going to start off with a white blues musician from Chicago, a harmonica player. One of my favorites, it was Charlie Musselwhite, and this is called Stand Back, Here Comes Charlie Musselwhite Southside Band. This is a reissue. I think it was out on Record Store Day a couple of years ago. About 15 years ago, I sold all my records, about 1,000 of them. And about 5 years ago, I started trying to replace everything. And some of the ones are not really easily replaceable or to find them in good condition. So when this was available at Record Store Day, I was happy to jump in and add it to my collection. This is originally, this had, besides Charlie Musselwhite playing harmonica and singing, Harvey Mandel on guitar, Barry Goldberg on piano, etc. So a great, great album. I can't remember, I think it's late 60s, early 70s. 67 originally, yeah. So, Stand Back. Here comes Charlie Musselwhite's Southside Blues Band. If you don't know Charlie Musselwhite, in the vein of Paul Butterfield, but a little funkier and not with the horns, but a great album. This other record, I lucked out. This one I picked up at Goodwill about a year or so ago. I go to Goodwill a couple times a week, and when I found this one, I just really couldn't believe that someone had put this in Goodwill. And it's Sonny Terry, and this is the Wizard of the Harmonica. Sonny Terry, this is actually a pressing from Denmark, and it was recorded in 1971 in Copenhagen, live recording with Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. Country blues, country harmonica player, not Chicago style at all, really deep blues. It's just a great, great album. And from the beginning, he was always one of my favorites, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. Brownie McGee was guitar player, and Sonny Terry was the harp player. So definitely, if you don't know him, check him out. Another kind of blues I always liked was what they call jump blues. Sort of a band and a big band, horns, etc. And one of my favorite singers of the jump blues, who was actually at that Ann Arbor Blues Festival, was Big Joe Turner. This is a compilation, Roots of Rock and Roll Volume 2. Have no fear, Big Joe Turner is here. This is a great album. He is a great picture. Great singer. Has all the stuff you might know about him. Can't find him right now. Anyway, Big Joe Turner. One of my all-time faves. This one a lot of people probably don't know of. He's a guitar player from Louisiana. Died fairly young, but great guitar player. Lightnin Slim, and this is Rooster Blues. This is a 1989 re-release. If you can find the original from 1960, that has a yellow cover, and that's worth some bucks, well over $100. This is a great album. He's a Louisiana style swamp blues. Fantastic record. This is on the Excello label. Nice dark blue label. And always liked Lightnin Slim. Really happy to pick this one up. Next one is another guy who unfortunately also died very young. He actually performed at the 1969 Ann Arbor Blues Festival and died in between 69 and 70. And he's a Chicago-style guitar player. And one of my faves is Magic Sam. If you don't know Magic Sam, you got to check him out. He didn't have many recordings, maybe 2 or 3 albums. This is a compilation, the Magic Sam Legacy. It's fantastic. This one features Shaky Jake on harmonica, Eddie Shaw, Mighty Joe Young, and Odie Payne on piano. Delmark Records. And this album contains entirely previously unreleased material. So in his lifetime, I think he had 2 or 3 albums out, and now, of course, since then, he's become fairly popular, and they're finding all sorts of old recordings he did, finding live recordings that he never released during his lifetime. But a great guitar player, and very funky. Loved Luther Allison. He was really all set to burst out on the scene when he passed away. 69, 70 would have been his year, and he just unfortunately didn't make it, but sorry about the glare. That's Magic Sam. Next one is a piano player. We haven't had too many piano players yet. He played piano mostly with Muddy Waters and did a lot of recordings on his own. I was actually lucky enough to see him at the 1965 or 66 Newport Folk Festival, where he was playing, and it is Otis Spann. Unfortunately, also died around 40 years old. A great piano player, one of the greats, absolutely. This is with Robert Lockwood Jr., who was Robert Johnson's nephew, I think. Piano and vocals and guitar with Robert Lockwood Jr. Recorded in 1960. Supervised by Nat Hentoff. Just fantastic. Otis Spann was just amazing piano player and a great vocalist. Real Chicago style blues. Skip this. Leave this one to the last. All right, next one is a classic blues album, considered one of the best, I think, and it is James Cotton, Cuttin' Loose, another harmonica player. This one features nobody. All right, obviously people, but nobody super famous on it with him. Wayne Talbert, Martin Fierro, Mike Fender, Eddie Adams, Joe Rodriguez, and James Cook. So I don't know them, but this album I've listened to and heard for many years. I think it came out in 1968. Again, this is another re-release. I think it was another Record Store Day thing. Yeah, on Vanguard. James Cotton, Cut You Loose. Really considered one of the seminal blues albums of the 1960s. If you like that Chicago blues, you like that harmonica, James Cotton also played with Muddy Waters for many years. Here's the guy that I think both Vinyl Richie and Andrew from the Crate, Digging the Crate, showed, but this is one of my favorites. It's John Lee Hooker. And this is an album called Going Down Highway 51 on Specialty Records. And this is all really old stuff recorded from 1948 to 1950 or 51. And it's raw and, I mean, John Lee Hooker at his best. Fantastic album. Not easy to find. I lucked out. And actually got this one and the next one at a friend's house. I was... last winter, I think it was. While we were watching football on a Sunday, and I went down the basement to go to the bathroom, and I passed by and I see a whole bunch of records stacked up, lying flat. So I went back up. We started talking about records. I said, "What's the deal with the records?" He goes, "Oh, you know, I'm just collecting dust. I don't listen to them anymore." So we made a deal. I took like 25 records for $25. He was happy to get rid of them, and I was happy to clean them up and give them a new home. So this is one of the ones I found that day. I was really excited about that. And the other one I found that day is the gem of my collection. Another harmonica player that, again, is not well known unless you're really into the blues. And it is Walter Horton. And this is called the Deep Blue Harmonica. The Deep Blues Harmonica of Walter Horton. This is an English pressing, or an English release, actually. Walter Horton died in 1981. I think he was born in 21. He was like 40 years old when he died. 60 years old, I'm sorry, when he died. And... he played on a lot of other people's albums, etc. He didn't front a lot of stuff. He was supposedly a very shy man. Wasn't interested in taking the spotlight. There are some compilations from the late 60s where he played with Fleetwood Mac, with Peter Green, and played with a lot of other bands. Did a lot of touring in Europe with Willie Dixon's big band when he played harmonica with that. He played on a lot of people's albums. He was really not, like I said, wasn't... didn't like to have the spotlight, didn't like to be in the front, but fantastic harmonica player. Just, I mean, right up there with Sonny Boy Williamson and all those people. So, Walter Horton, the Deep Blues Harmonica of Walter Horton. And my last one, number 10, is one of my favorite albums of the electric blues, and it's called Showdown. And it features Albert Collins, the Iceman, Robert Cray, and Johnny Clyde Copeland. Again, this is another one that I got as a reissue from 1985 from Alligator Records. And it is, if you haven't heard it, and you like the blues, you like that Chicago electric blues, doesn't get much better than this album. It's fantastic. As I said, one of my all-time favorites. So those are my 10... Show Me 10 Blues albums. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something you didn't know about and are encouraged to maybe go on either Spotify or YouTube and check out some of these artists and dig out some of their records. Just remember, all American music started with the blues. And got to start with the bass, and then you move from there. So I want to thank everybody who's been watching my videos. I can't believe I'm well over 200 subscribers now. And next time I think I'm going to be doing Gimme 10 jazz albums. I'm also a big jazz freak, so I got a lot of good jazz albums. And I think I'll pick 10 obscure ones out and try to show them also. So hey, until next time, peace.